Hello everyone. Today we're going to be learning about laser cutting at our university workshops. The first thing you need to do whenever you're going to be using the university workshops is to basically get in touch with the people there. So this case will be the University of Manchester workshop with Scott. You can talk to them about what you're trying to do, and they will always give you guidance. And they also have a list of tutorials here on how you need to create your drawings. This is for laser cutting. So the first thing we need to know is that it needs to be scaled and saved at a DWG file. Or DXF, but we're interested in DWG because the software you're probably going to be using is just AutoCAD. And the other very important thing is the maximum size, which is 800 millimeters to 450. So if we go into AutoCAD and create a new drawing, we can test that the units are in fact decimals in millimeters. Perfect. So that's what we need, and we need to draw a polyline. That's we'll just put ortho on as well. That's 800 by 400. Was it 450? So that would be the maximum extents. Of this. Let's zoom in a little bit. So yeah, so we have our line here drawn, polyline drawn. Perfect. So we have this. Well, we can join them. I don't know why it's doing, but let's just technically join. There we go. Now we have a polyline here surrounding. Now the next thing we need to think about is that, okay, is it scaled? Yes. Draw that box in there and then fit all the components in there. Perfect. And explode all blocks and join all lines into polylines to reduce the overall number of lines. So we'll do this afterwards, because the first thing we need to do is number 3, which is set the drawing on 2 layers, one for cutting, red, and the other one for etching. Set red layer 1 and blue layer 5. So we need to go into our layer properties. We need to create 2 new layers. So we have 1 and 2 new layers, and we're going to name them. We're going to rename the layer as red layer 1. And we're going to rename this one as blue layer 2. If we go here, we need to change the colors to red layer 1, and this one will be blue layer 2. There's also one more thing we need to change in our layers here, which is the line weights to be at 0.05 for all of them. So if we go here, change it to 0.05, and here as well to 0.05. That means that everything we draw would be within this layer would be that color. There is also another layer that you can do. A white layer can be used for deep engraving. So we can use our white layer here. We can rename it into, just make a new layer and call it white layer 2. This one needs to be renamed into layer 5, similar to what the instructions say here, because it said red layer 1 for cutting and blue layer 5. So blue layer 5 is that, and red layer 1 is indeed correct here. I'm not entirely sure what the white layer we named us. We're just going to name it white layer 2, and we can even name it like white layer as it says there. and again 0.05 for the line width, and the color here will be white, which is here. Okay, so that's perfect. So our layers are set. For this, we're gonna place it in the red layer one, and now you can create whatever shapes it is that you want to create within here. I'm just going to draw a few circles, maybe some lines. Whoop, like that. I'm just going to move them about. I'm just gonna move it. There. Now, you'll notice that these are separate lines. It's good to join them up so that it becomes one polyline. So it goes around like this. It saves time. If we want this to be cut, it will be red. If we want this inside of it to be engraved, it will be blue. You also have to consider things like if you have lines overlapping each other. So if you have, like, I'm drawing one line here, another line there, and another line there, and then closing it off. And then I'm drawing again another line here. So what we have here, we have two lines. And you'll see we have two lines there. We want to use we select it, and we want to use, well, we can select the whole thing. We want to use the overkill command. And what the overkill command will do is it will basically just delete anything that's the same on top of it. So now, you see, now after running that command, if we move this, we only have one line there. And again, we need to join this up, and so on and so forth. So this will be cut now, this will be engraved. Similar to this, we can create a new object in here, make it into, then we'll have a circle with an engraving of a rectangle. So this is how you need to do it. And then the last part, so you see we set our file dimensions and scalings to 800 to 450. We've exploded all our blocks. So if you have any blocks, so let's say you're bringing this in, controls. And now I have it as a block. It won't be able to be recognized. So in order for this to be placed in there and work, so let me just delete this. In order to be placed in there to work, you have to explode. And now you can see we have two elements. So now it's able to be moved in there and ready to be cut. So yeah, we've exploded that. We've used the overkill command to reduce any duplicate lines. We created two layers, a red and a blue layer. We've assigned which one we want for cutting, which one we want for etching. We ensure that all our line weights are set to 0.05. That has been done by making it by layer. You can even select all of them to be sure and go here, sorry, here, and go 0.05. So you're 100% sure that everything's 0.05. And then before outputting your drawing from AutoCAD, make sure you have done the following to the drawing before plotting. Save it as a DWG or a DXF 2010 or above file format. So what we need to do is to just save this, save as. And this needs to be saved as a, well, let's just call it laser tutorial 1 as a DWG file, and just save it. We'll save it in the desktop. Once the drawing are at this stage, you are ready to have them checked by a member of the workshop and stuff at your allotted time. So this is everything you need to do. Essentially, if you have something that's full-sized, because you draw in full size, you would, let's say this is, I don't know, my plan for whatever reason. And just close it up. So if this is our plan, we're going to join those lines, and obviously you might have things in it. You might have like a table or whatever it is that you have. You may want to also let's just make it properly offset this through offset by I don't know, 10. There you go. 10 millimeters is nothing. Let's just do it again. Offset by 100 millimeters. That line in there. This is obviously very small, but you know, if it's full sized, we've only drawn a wall that's about 5 meters long, so it's more like a room at this point. Anyway, the point is, if you wanted to be at a scale of 1 to 100 and see if it fits there, you would have to select it and you would have to scale it down by 0.01. That would be a 1 to 100 scale, and that's how it's going to come out. Or if you want it to be because it's very small, want to scale that down into 0.1. So now that is on a scale of 1 to 10. I mean, it's just one room, but you can see how I can copy this over, and we can fit it in there if we wanted to. And then we know the scale is going to be 1 to 10 when it comes out. So this will be a room at 1 to 10. If we want it to be cut like that, we can even edge this. We can put it as an edging if you want to. So you know where the walls would go when you're building your model. So that's the thickness of the walls. This obviously would be a table. You might not even want to showcase anything inside. Anyway, so that's how you would scale down your drawings and place them in there. There's also a list of common issues, the things that might have a problem. The jobs appearing as black lines when plotted despite the layering lines. So if the line weighting is wrong here, there are objects that can change the correct line weighting or color. Can be changed to the correct line if it's grouped, or there are constraints in the objects. There's a lot of issues and answers here. Remember, it's at the b15.humanities.manchester.ac.uk. That's the website that gives you the instructions for the workshop. And as always, you can always ask the experts there. So that is the end of the tutorial. Hope you enjoyed it.